So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a 3D printed ring and how to finish the 3D print to get a nice smooth quality to the ring. Really the best way to finish a 3D print, you have to sand it. You have to be really good at sanding. So I usually start at a 60 grit, and then I go to 120, 220, and then I finish up at 400. And then once you get to 400, you can start to spray paint, and we'll get to that later. So when you first have your 3D print, it's going to have all these bumps and ridges on it. You have to sand those away with a 60 grit, get it down to a nice even surface, and then from there we'll move through the grits. And really the 60 takes the longest amount of time because you have to do the initial sanding. So that took a few minutes, and then I got an even finish all around the ring and on the tops and bottoms. I didn't do the inside, and that's simply because it's going to be on my finger, not be able to see it. But if you wanted to, you could go in there with the 60 grit and make it really smooth. One thing you always need to remember is that sandpaper is your tool, so don't be afraid to cut it. And if you need to get into something, just cut off a little piece and then you can get in there. So just always use the size sandpaper that is most beneficial to what you're currently doing. And if you need a smaller piece, cut off a piece from a bigger slice, and then if you need a larger slice, keep it big. So I'm going to go down to the next grit, which is the 120, and I will show you how that goes. So these higher grits are a lot faster to sand with because we already got the surface level. So now we're just going through the various grits. That was the 120. Now I got to do the 220 and the 400. So I'll do those, see how smooth it is, and maybe we'll get to some spray painting after that. So I got down to the 400 grit level, 400, and it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna smooth out the inside a little bit more so it feels a little nicer on my finger, but it's looking pretty good. The edges are getting kind of sharp from sanding it down, so I'm going to round them out a little bit with the 400 grit. And I was gonna show you kind of what I was doing. I was pushing the ring with my thumb as I was pushing into it with my right hand. You don't want to put a lot of pressure into it. You just want to let the sandpaper do the work. If you put too much pressure, you could make lines in the surface where you don't want them, and then you have to do more sanding to get it out later. And then to get the sides flat, I just kept the sandpaper flat on the table, and then pushed the ring into the table and sanded in circles. It worked pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. There's one section right here, I don't know if you can see, is a little narrower than the other sections, so maybe I sanded a little too much right there, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So here we are. This is the ring that I was sanding. Let me try to get it in focus here. It's pretty smooth all the way around, 400 grit. And now it's ready for spray painting. To spray paint the ring, I used this gold NC acrylic spray paint, black, matte black. If you spray paint in matte black, it's going to dry really quickly within 15 minutes or so to the touch. But if you use a glossy finish, it'll take longer, a couple hours before you can touch it. So I usually like to do the matte black because of its speed. And I just did half the ring. I just blue taped it off so that the white wouldn't get spray painted. And I will show you how I did that with this ring. And there we go. I just put the tape around half the ring. You can then go spray paint that outside. If you don't know where to find it, you can find blue tape at any Home Depot or department store like that. Same thing with spray paint. Find it everywhere. You don't have to get the gold brands. You can just get any matte black brand of spray paint. But I do recommend the gold because it goes on really, really evenly, really thick. It's a nice brand. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I will be making more videos like this in the future. So please subscribe.